Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. I am Jeanne Gallagher, and I am here with Denise Stegall. Hey, Denise.
Hi, hi.
Hey. So Denise is here to toss us some wisdom, and I think that we're going to talk about 4 hidden habits sabotaging our health. This is part 1 because there's technically 8, right?
Technically 8. Yes, we're going to talk about the first
Well, we're gonna
4.
do 4 now, and we're gonna come back another day to do the other 4. And
Yes,
so, sabotaging our health. What do you got
yes.
going for us?
So it's really, it's sabotaging our diet with a D word, little d, not a big D, like,
Little D.
I always say the little d, meaning what we
Mm-hmm.
eat. Um, but of course, as we sabotage our diet, we're sabotaging our health as well. So there's that trickle down effect. So I think what I find with my clients, uh, myself on occasion, depending on what's going on in my world at the time, I call this the hunger signal snooze. We just kind of put that on hold. We put it up on a shelf and we eat. Oh, it's 12 o'clock, it's lunchtime. I'm going to eat. I'm not hungry. My stomach isn't grumbly. I don't feel like I need to eat anything, but it's lunchtime, so I'm going to eat. And so what happens when we do this, we kind of follow this, we eat during the time of day that we're supposed to, whatever these external cues may be. Perhaps it's a social culture. Hey, everybody gets together on Friday. It's Friday. Everybody gets together Friday after work and we go to happy hour and we drink a bunch of crappy beer. It's not me. And eat some wings and French fries and all of these things. And they're there. So you just are munching, right? But you're not really
Mm-hmm.
hungry because happy hours at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's still afternoon to me. And so we end up kind of missing the signals when we actually are hungry. Um, what happens with this is it really does lead to overeating. So we're eating when we're not hungry, but then we're hungry,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're eating again. And so when you finally do sit down oh, I am hungry, and you sit down for a meal, 9 out of 10 times, you've already eaten a full meal, whether it's the
Mm-hmm.
snacks or, the wings at uh, happy hour, whatever it may be. And so the challenge I think many of us have, and we talk midlife. We talk midlife here, Jeanne Gallagher. Um,
Yeah, or north of midlife for one of us. Whatever.
it's all relative. Um,
Yeah, right.
the changes in our body and our bodies are constantly changing. As women, they just are like from the time you're
Mm-hmm.
12, like stuff is always changing. I mean, for me, it's been every year, it's been something else, right? Since I turned 45, really 37, but
Mm-hmm.
45 is really when things started to change. And, hormone shifts, your appetite shifts, when, your hormones, especially cortisol, um, when that starts to rise, then all of a sudden, we're gaining weight and we're going, why are we gaining weight? Oh, it must be my cortisol. Oh, it must be because I'm in midlife, right? Well, it could be the fact that you're eating when you're not hungry and you're confusing your body. The other challenge, I think, what happens with this hunger signal is we eat a lot later.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are snacking at 11 o'clock at night when we should be sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So, learning to listen to our body cues, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're satisfied, not when you're full, big difference, right? And what I find is when my clients start to understand this and really start listening to their bodies more, their relationship with food is very different. They automatically start losing weight. Why? Because they're not eating all those calories that they weren't really thinking that they were eating. So,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, that's always as women, we're always looking to, be at our healthiest weight, whatever that is for you, right? So when we're at a healthy weight and we're moving, which also helps with appetite, we obviously can have better health outcomes tomorrow, next year, and well into our 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond.
Yeah, I like that. I like this. And so what I'm going to say isn't necessarily for the midlife person. It's more for, and not necessarily for losing weight, but I think it's that signals when hungry, because I was talking to my daughter Megan about this, and the kids, and she's contemplating making some dinner time changes because the kids get hungry after school. They get hungry and they have a snack at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And then when it's dinner time, they've ruined they're no longer hungry any longer. So dinner becomes a challenge. So she's like, well, maybe we should start to eat dinner earlier so that when the kids are hungry, then it's teaching them they're hungry, let's eat a meal, versus let's have a snack, and then now mealtime is all messed up. So listening, and it also helps them learn about listening for those signals when they're hungry. So just tossing it out there. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think also, what are we snacking on? Like I was mentioning about, happy hour because it's Friday, and all of the calorie laden, greasy things that, oh, it's just a snack, or I'm just going to grab a bag of chips. Well, that bag of chips versus an apple, big difference. The apple's
Yep,
going
totally.
to satisfy you and, fill you enough, but not too so much that you're going to ruin your dinner. Unless you eat one of those apples that are like this big. I found an apple the other day at the supermarket. It literally was as big as my head. Anyway, organic apples are probably better in that situation. So the second one, the next one I have, and we're all guilty of this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Stand up snacking. How many
Hmm.
times have you just been in the kitchen, washing dishes, doing something else? Oh, my husband does this to me all the time. He's got a bag of chips, bag of Tostitos, just plain tortilla chips, open on the counter. I walk in, I'm doing something. Oh, I'll pick one up and I'll just munch on it. And then I go back out, do something else. Oh, they're still there. I'll pick up and before I eat, before I even know it, I've eaten a serving of chips, and we haven't had dinner yet. So just standing
Mm-hmm.
up, you're not thinking about it. It's mindless. And so the
Mm.
mindless eating too isn't necessarily satisfying. You're just kind of putting food in your mouth because it's there, it's in front of you. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
if we had that bag of chips and we were sitting with some guacamole and some salsa, talking to each other, we probably still would have had that serving of chips, but I wouldn't have eaten it in a mindless way. It would have taken me
Mm-hmm.
longer to eat, and we would have been doing it in a social environment, right?
Right.
So that grabbing things. I mean, how many times I don't know how many times my sister tells me that she does this. Guilty too. So go into the pantry for something. And while she's in the pantry looking for whatever she's looking for, and she's like me midlife, and she's going, what did I come in here for? Oh, there's nuts
Mm-hmm.
here. Oh, I'll
Mm-hmm.
have a nut. Like, I'll have some of these things. And again, it may just be a little bit here and there, but this habit leads to us eating so many extra calories without even realizing it because we're not focused
Mm-hmm.
on the food. If we're not focused on the food, are we tasting it? Are we enjoying it?
Mm-mm. Not a bit.
Not a bit. I mean, maybe you're tasting it, but it's like, you kind of gobble it down because you're in the
And
middle
you
of
don't,
doing
but the
something
other piece
else.
too is you don't realize how much you ate.
Yes, absolutely. This is a big one and goes, these all kind of go to, these three all really do go together. Um, the container creep. Okay. When you're eating from a large container, you ever look at the
Oh, so
back,
it's not a creepy person that's a container, it's a container creep.
let's call it the creepy container calorie creep. There we go. That makes
There you go.
that makes them a little bit clarifies that. When we eat from the big containers, the big box, the big bag of chips, it is so easy to lose control of how many chips you're eating or how many crackers or whatever it is that you're grabbing out of the bag. On the back of each bag, box, whatever, bag of nuts or container of nuts, it tells you exactly how much is a serving. And if we're just kind of grabbing it out of the container, and not
Mhm.
measuring it. I am a fan of measuring. So if
Mhm.
20 chips is a serving, grab your 20 chips, right?
Right.
I think it's such a good practice to get into. And I know people will just roll their eyes at me, oh, whatever, Denise, but it will truly help you realize how much you were eating, how much more you were eating. And it will
Mhm.
absolutely help you lose weight because of you're not eating those extra calories. And you'd be surprised, like, I forget how much a serving of something I was eating the other day. I think it was like 9 pieces. Well, when my husband goes and he goes into the bag, he just grabs handfuls.
Mhm.
And so 9 pieces, handfuls. How many extra
Mhm.
calories? Oh, I know what it was. It was a jar of nuts. So it was mixed nuts, and it said 9 pieces or like a tablespoon for however many calories. And again, so a tablespoon is like this big, right? So it was like 9 nuts, and he was eating handfuls of nuts. So where I had in my hand 100 calories of nuts, he probably had 300. Now he was
Mhm.
eating nuts, so he's thinking he's eating something healthy, right? But all good things to an extreme.
Portion control is really important, and I agree with you 100% because I do measure my food, and that seems controlling, but it's not, because I learned that I didn't understand what a portion really looked like. So I
Mhm.
might have been eating more carbs than I really needed, and I should have been eating more protein. That was the difference for me. And snacking makes it, like you said, everything you said is true. Snacking makes a difference too. It's easy to eat out of a bag and eat the bag and
Mhm.
oops, I'm late
Mhm.
now.
Right. And it just, without that visual cue, we really don't know how much we're eating. And we always, if we're
Yeah.
tracking it, we underestimate it. So, you could
Hmm.
be, I was looking for my phone, thinking like with my Fitness Pal tracker, my food tracker.
Right.
I could say, oh, I had some nuts. Oh, I had a serving of nuts. Maybe. How many calories? Oh, I don't know. We'll just say it's a serving, it's 100 calories. And so I go through the rest of my day, but I had 300 calories. I'm going to be 200 over because I only think I had 100.
Hmm.
So now, granted, a lot of times people do this when they're stressed out or it's been a busy day, long day, that kind of thing. But one of the things I suggest is, I know people are going to roll their eyes again when they hear this. When you get something like nuts or chips or cookies, crackers, not that we should be eating a lot of these, but let's be real. This is the world we live in, right? They're going to be in the house. Somebody's going to bring them in, right? Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Mark. Portion them when you bring them home. They have those little
That's a great
snack bags
idea.
that you send the kids home. You send the kids to school with
Yeah.
little snack bags because you're not giving the whole box of cookies to the kids to take to school. Guess what? We're actually paying attention then when we're packing our kids' lunches and sending them to school. But then that's the only time we're paying attention because the kids come home and they're like, "Oh, mom, I want cookies." We put the packet down on the table and the kids go crazy and have 6 cookies, and then
Hmm.
they're not hungry for dinner.
Right.
So again, so portioning, again, the portion control is so important, whether it's snacks,
Hmm.
whether it's, how much protein you're eating, how much fat, all of those things. But today we really are focusing on, kind of the kind of
The
snacky
snacking
things,
piece.
right?
Hmm.
The last one I want to talk about today is something that I don't struggle with, but my other than my husband, my other favorite guy in the world, my nephew, has this major problem with. I mean, seriously, like it's like the biggest problem the boy has. Boy, he's 27 years old. He's a man. Get this one, car snack attack. Whenever he is in the car, he has to be eating something. And it's mindless. Again, he's driving. Last time I was there, we were driving down the highway. I live 70 miles an hour, and he had a bag of Sour Patch Kids. Not a little packet,
Oh
a
my.
bag. They're sitting in the middle of the console. And so he's driving, he's got one hand on the wheel, and he's digging his hand into this bag of gummy candies,
Sour Patch
these
Kids.
Sour
Oh my
Patch Kids,
goodness.
which
Yeah.
to start with.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like just again, the handful. But again, he's in the car. It's something that he does when he's in the car. Now, a
Mhm.
lot of times if we're, coming home from someplace and it's late, maybe you drive. I don't do this, but I know it's part of American life. We'll drive into, say, Taco Bell. And I use Taco Bell because down the road from me, at about 7 o'clock at night, there is a line around the Taco Bell. There's so many people
Mhm.
there. And people there's four of them in the car and they're just chit-chatting. And you see them driving away and they're talking and they're eating and they're having a good old time, but they're just constantly grabbing food. Another time people are guilty of this, when you've just gone food shopping. Okay, what's the number one rule when you go food shopping?
Don't go hungry. Don't
Bingo,
go
don't go
shopping
hungry.
hungry.
Exactly. Because then what happens? You buy things that you really weren't planning on buying because they weren't on your list, because we are all going to the store with a list, right? Hopefully, for the most part.
Hopefully.
Um, but when we're hungry, then all of a sudden, oh, I'll just grab this, oh, these cookies look good. Oh, and they're only, there aren't a lot of ingredients in them. They'll be fine. And so you get to the car, and as you're putting your groceries away, the cookies are on the top of the bag, right? And somehow those cookies end up not in the bag anymore, but on the seat next to you.
Right.
So again, this just encourages this mindless eating that we're so prone to in our culture. We're distracted. We're not really tasting it. Are we hungry? Probably not, unless you've gone to the supermarket hungry. And again, before we realize it, we've eaten 300 calories of snack, or because let's be real, you're not like digging in for the apple, right? And once we do that and it becomes a habit. Every time you get in the car, like my nephew, every time he gets in the car, it's something. The other day it was Doritos. And I only know this because he puts it on Instagram, which I think he does on purpose just to like burn my bum.
Probably.
Probably. Anyway, either way, this is something that contributes to overeating, extra calories, and it takes away from the pleasure of eating food.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, more calories, extra calories, weight gain. When we stop eating mindlessly in the car, just snacking in the car, we're going to pay more attention to the amount of calories we're eating, the foods that we're eating, like the quality of food that we're eating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an easy way to lose weight or maintain weight if that's, where you are.
Mm-hmm. I love this because what you've done is you've shown us some really obvious, simple things, but it's so obvious we need to be reminded of it. So let's run them back just a second. So understand your signals when you're hungry and pay attention to those. And then the mindless eating gets broken into 3 sections. So standing up snacking, the container creep. I'm just going to say it because I love it. Container creep, eating out of that big bucket, and car snack attack.
Yes.
It's fun
to make it interesting,
but it is really important because these are areas that we can curb and make a huge difference. Denise, as always, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for indulging me.
Hello, everyone. This is Jeanne Gallagher, Discover Rising Tides, and I want to just take a moment to talk about my friend, Denise Stegall. I am honored to call her as a friend, and I'm so grateful that she gives us her insight during our shows, each show, and talks about healthy living, eating real food. You hear Denise say, eat real food a lot. Well, she means it, and she knows what she's talking about. She is an amazing healthy living coach, curator at Living Healthy List. And if you ever have any questions about what is real food, why does it matter? How does that apply to me? How do I change? What do I need to do? How do I even create a healthy living shopping list? Make sure that you call her. She is your healthy living coach, and you can find her at healthylivinglist.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. I am Jeanne Gallagher, and I'm really excited to introduce to you our guest today, Wendy Lauritsen. Hey, Wendy, how are you?
Good. How are you, Jeanne?
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. So Wendy's a holistic health coach. Wendy, can you give us a little bit of your background and then we'll dive in?
Sure. I'm a certified holistic health coach and EFT tapping practitioner. I primarily help middle-aged women who are busy professionals or parents who are really struggling with their diet. They're looking to maybe clean it up. They maybe know that they should be, eating a little bit better. But also the big area of focus, because this is where symptoms and imbalance can start, is the stress. So I really focus on that a lot. So what's really stressing them out? And then I use the tool tapping to help them with that. The other area that I focus on as well is people who are going through a spiritual awakening, because there are many people that are shifting and really questioning everything, and it can be very difficult to go through that. And I've had health issues myself, so that's what got me into being a health coach myself and learning how to reduce my stress.
There's a lot that we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it is kind of a lot. Yeah.
In a good way, not a bad way. In a good way.
Exactly. There's a lot of areas to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to take a deep dive into the tapping part as well. But before we get there, stress. Holy cow, that's a big one.
It's huge. It's huge. It's the reason that most people get sick. It was the reason that I got sick. I just didn't know how to manage my stress levels. The people I see people just seem very overwhelmed today. There's just so much being thrown at us, and the rates of anxiety and depression are very high. So my go-to is tapping. There's many modalities out there, and I think they're all great. I think, pick one, pick several, just use them and do it, because I think we really need it today. So yeah, I really think you can get to the bottom of some of the symptoms that you can start to develop if you can address the stress in your life. And it obviously can be many areas, relationships, finance, work, family, the whole gamut.
Why? So what do you think the reason is for the stress being loaded on all of us, or us not having tools to dissipate properly these feelings? Is it generational, or do you think that the generations prior to us just didn't talk about it or didn't acknowledge it?
All of the above, absolutely. I think certainly my generation, we didn't come from that. It was all about suppressing your emotions because it wasn't safe in a lot of households and circumstances, or maybe even in schools, to express your emotions. So I think we're really working on that. It's definitely the generations before that certainly did not express their emotions. What I do see is a shift, that I think people are talking about it so much more. And I think that's so healthy. It used to be really frowned upon to say that you went to therapy or that you were getting help, or, it was just, there was a lot of shame around it. It was very odd. And I think we're breaking that down. I see this particularly in the younger generation. I usually work more with middle-aged women, but even like 30-year-olds, I find that they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm in therapy," and I just think it's amazing and wonderful that people are seeking help, and they're they want to live their best lives, and they want.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah, they don't want to be carrying this on over and over again, and there's just families are complicated. A lot of it comes from childhood, for sure, and I think they're just more willing, I think, to get to the bottom of it. Certainly not everybody, but. It's definitely in the right direction, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely not a stigma as it was before. So, whether it is for personal reasons, relationship reasons, business coach, so many different avenues, it is wonderful that it's okay to say, I think I need a little help.
Right, exactly.
A sounding board, and just making sure, or where do I reach out for tools? and how do I understand, and where do I go? And because there's stress, but then there's also the stress of not being able to know what to do, or do I feel okay? Are these feelings that I'm feeling are legit? And I personally, I think that knowing that I'm feeling something that is legit also brings some comfort to be able to learn how open a door and open the awareness, and giving yourself permission to learn how to control, deal, dissipate, etc.
Exactly, exactly. And I think people want to be, they want to be validated. They're like, these are the emotions I'm feeling. And it's not, it's a tricky situation, because I think you can get into a area where you don't want to like overindulge the emotions, but you also don't want to suppress them. So I think it's important, like with tapping, you hear a lot about, well, why am I focusing on the negative? Because you do, when you do that, you are bringing it to light. You are saying, this is what I'm feeling. And so many times, you'll hear, yeah, well, if you keep having the same thoughts, you're going to be creating the same life. And that is true. But on the other hand, you do want to feel that and just release it. And that's, it's all energy, as we know. It's just, it's suppressed. It needs attention. It needs to be brought up and then released. So, it's just a tricky area, because like I was saying, in meditation, you don't want to be overly focusing on the negative, because you're just creating more of the same. So
Well,
if that makes sense.
No, it does. What you focus on, you receive.
Right.
So yes. So since you brought it up, let's take a moment here just to talk about tapping. Can you tell us what it is, where it comes from, and how it works, and why do you find that that's beneficial?
Well, it's actually, oh gosh, I don't know how many years ago now. It's got to be at least 30 years old by now, if not more. And it was a psychiatrist or psychologist, I'm not sure which one he was, who accidentally found out about it. He was researching acupressure and acupuncture, and he kind of accidentally stumbled upon it, and he ended up using it with one of his patients, and she had a phobia, and it disappeared. And then there were other people after that really fine-tuned it, and it's basically tapping on acupressure points. You don't use needles, and then you're tuning into the problem that has come up for you, like your issue. So what you're doing is you're releasing stuck energy in the meridian system. So you're tapping on the points while you're saying, like, I'll use an example, like say you just have pain. You can use it on pain, you can use it on anything. I have this pain in my neck. So you actually focus on it, and then any emotions that come up with it at the time, like say you're frustrated by it, or say, you've been feeling angry, and you start to make the connection between the pain in your body and the emotion that you're feeling. So you go through several rounds of the tapping, and then you're trying to release that. And what you do is you're getting the number of the intensity lower. So say you're at like an 8 or a 10. 10 is like really the highest, really bad. You're trying to lower that number down as you go through the rounds of tapping. So you keep tuning in with your body to see, okay, has that pain reduced? What emotions came up? What shifted for you? Sometimes the pain moves around. It's all kinds of things. It's actually really interesting to see the changes, and all of a sudden you're thinking of something maybe in your childhood, or something that happened a year ago, or it's reminding you of a situation or a particular individual, and you're like, wow, I didn't even know that I was carrying that energetically. So it's just it's a gentle process of just trying to clear that out of your system. And you're tuning into it, but you're actually sort of deactivating it in a way.
By dissipating the energy.
You're giving it attention, like you mentioned earlier, but you're also saying, okay, it's time to clear this layer out of my system. And like I said, I respect all the modalities out there. They're all very unique and individual.
Oh,
And
there's so many. And
so
like you
many, whatever
mentioned,
works
find
for you.
something that works for you. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of the gist of it,
Mhm.
of how it works.
Okay. And in it, dissipation of energy,
Mhm.
realignment of focus.
Yeah, and just feeling more balanced. We can all get into this just where we get trapped in our thoughts. And then the
Mhm.
thoughts are creating these heavy emotions. And then before you know it, I mean, we're just, days on end, we become depressed all of a sudden chronically, and we just can't seem to pinpoint where it started and what happened. And you just have to go layer by layer and just start anywhere, and you just start tapping on something. I mean, sometimes you can just be tapping and not even saying anything, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel your nervous system relax.
Mm.
But the key is you tune in to the specifics of it. Yeah, so that's, I'm trying to,
And
it's kind of
utilizing
complicated.
utilizing the meridian points on your body as well, depending upon where the stress might be showing on you, that you're going to be addressing it in different meridian points, I would assume. Yes.
Exactly. And the people that kind of fine-tuned it to just the certain points, it was actually one particular individual
Mhm.
who did that there. It kind of covers everything, the points, and each point is associated with certain organs, which
Mhm.
is interesting too, because sometimes a certain point, you can be tapping on a certain point and feeling like you want to stay
Feeling.
there because it feels good. So it could,
Mhm.
again, there's so many intricacies to it that it could be connected to something else that's going in your body that you might not
Mhm.
even realize. But yeah, it's easy to learn. It's quick, and you can start to really see some shifts in it. Again, with other things, like certainly like getting outdoors is very important.
Oh, oh, absolutely. But it is one method to alleviate some areas so you can focus on a root cause possibly, or discover a root cause as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
And and what we eat, Hazel, it really drives everything, or what we don't eat
Yes.
in a less than positive way really drives everything. It controls our sleep, our which controls our stress, it controls our metabolism and our blood sugar, and how we react throughout the day, and how we show up for ourselves too.
Exactly. I mean, diet it's huge. It's huge. I mean, when you think about, if you just simplify it and think about it, it's something we do every day.
Mhm.
I mean, every day, unless we're on a fast. So it's really rewarding to see when kind of the light bulb goes off and people realize, like, I can't put junk in my body.
Mhm.
I can't and expect to feel good. Like, it will catch up with you eventually.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, our food supply, especially in this country, is really contaminated. But again, things are, to be on the bright side, things are really shifting. I mean, there's more options now for organic, or if you're gluten-free or vegan or dairy-free or whatever it might be. There's so many options out there where, even 10 years ago, there was hardly any of that.
Oh, without a doubt. And we spend a lot of time here on the podcast talking about eating healthy through Denise and her conversations, and the importance of eating real food. And what I think is so important about what you're doing is that you're integrating that with the full picture. Because if we don't understand what's needed in every, would you find that different people have different dietary needs?
Oh, sure. I think that people need to. I get very cautious when there are people that are very rigid about a certain diet. I think
Mm-hmm.
you can experiment with things like that, but you ultimately have to listen to your own body about
Mm-hmm.
what works. There are people that definitely should be vegan. It feels right to them. They like it for many reasons. It's great. And then I've heard of people that have been vegan for years, and then they all of a sudden it's like they couldn't do it anymore. And they became omnivore. They just could not, it just, again, and our bodies change as we age, you know, and depending on what's going on in our lives. So I really think yes, everybody needs to be eating healthier food in general, and it should be from the earth, you know, organic, preferably, but
Not processed.
non-processed, exactly. I mean, the junk nobody needs. So, I mean, as far as that go, I think that's pretty much across the board. But they're just, I guess I'm talking more about, like, there can be some very extreme diets out there, and I think people have to just be careful with that. You know, really, again, if it doesn't feel good in your body and you don't feel better from it, it's telling you something. You need to shift, or you need to maybe add some things in and take some things out.
Yeah. So what is it about, I want to say us middle-aged people, but I think I'm north of middle age, unless I'm living to past the the average. But so what happens as a middle-aged person, and the awareness, is it the awareness that we have? Do we get to a certain point and we go, something might not be right, or finally I have time to really think about it? Because I hear quite often middle-aged people are looking for better results, more information. Why do I feel like this? How can I make sure that the next half of my life is going to be great quality, and continue to do what you're currently doing right now?
So sorry. So what's the actual question?
So why do we at middle age have this aha moment to say, yeah, there really wasn't a question there. You didn't miss a thing, Wendy.
No, it's okay.
It was more of a statement than a question. But
Yeah,
so why does it take all the way till middle age to go, oh, maybe why do I need to pay attention to all these things?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great information. I think because we start to get sick. I think, I mean, we just, you know, when you're young, you can detox easier. You can, you know, I mean, you know, typical college kids, they're just, you know, the stories that you hear. I'm not saying all college kids by any means, but, you know, they're drinking.
We've all lived through it.
Exactly. I mean, they can eat pizza and then they can still get up the next day and bounce back. But we're accumulating toxins in our cells, in our livers. And by the time middle age comes, a lot of people start to have symptoms. They start to get sick. And that's, you know, that's where I really like to get people on the right track. Like, don't go down that path. I went down a really bad symptoms for many years myself. And a lot of it was stress induced. It was tied into the whole spiritual awakening too, but that's a whole other story. But
we'll get there.
I think by middle age, we just, you know, we're not feeling that great. You know, our joints might be aching, maybe our sleep isn't so great. Certainly with women, I mean, you've got the whole, and I'm not an expert in menopause or perimenopause, but you've got all that going on, which really shifts a lot in our body. So I think it's just kind of, we just get to a point where we're like, yeah, what I'm doing isn't quite working for me. I mean, it really comes down to lifestyle. It comes down to, you know, what do we do? What are we doing day in and day out? You know, what kind of movement are we doing? What are we eating? How are we managing our stress? Are we getting outside? You know, are we grounding? Are we doing any of those things? So, you know, are we laughing? Are we playing?
Oh, yeah. Everything is so serious. You know, we're talking about serious things, but I love that you said that, because this is a serious topic. But there comes a point where we just have to break it down and stop and enjoy ourselves.
Exactly. I agree completely.
Yeah. You mentioned spiritual awakening. What is that?
Oh gosh. Ooh, how do I distill that down? It's basically when your soul kind of comes on board and says, okay, the ego's been in the driver's seat. This is what we came to do. Like, our soul came at this particular time, and it can be very kind of earth shattering. It can be, doesn't have to be. I've heard some people say where they they go someplace and, or they wake up one day and they just completely feel differently. But it's kind of a whole questioning. You're questioning life, you're questioning your purpose. The energy in general has really changed on the planet. People are really waking up to old systems, all of that. And they, it's, let me give you like a very generic example. It's like, say the Wall Street executive, just stressed out of his mind, drinking, caffeine all day, terrible diet. And just one day is like, I can't do this anymore. I like, it's like it's a switch, and it can be very gradual. But then all of a sudden he like moves to the mountains and he's, by himself or whatever, and it's like, and he's growing a garden and like, I'm living off land, like just can't do it anymore. It's that kind of getting out of the matrix, basically, is what it is. For me, it started many years ago for me. And for me, it was a very difficult time in my life. There were many stressful things going on in my life, all at once. It's kind of a long story. I won't go all into it, but, and I didn't even know what was going on. And then I started to research a lot and reach out to, just other people. And I started to just completely consume videos on it. And then I found out that there are a lot of other people going through it. Sometimes people are uncomfortable talking about it, but it's such a big thing right now. And it can affect your health. I don't know. I haven't heard of anybody where they don't start feeling some kind of symptoms, and they, it's the ascension essentially is what's going on. Humanity is.
How do you recognize that that's happening?
Right. It's consciousness raising. It basically is what it is. People are so much more aware than they were in general. I'm not, again, not everybody will, everybody's journey is completely different and unique, and that's fine, but it can be difficult sometimes.
So when you're helping people through this process, how do you recognize that that's happening or that needs to happen? I don't even know if you can answer this question. So just toss it out there. And if you can't, totally get it. So how does somebody realize that there's something like that going on? Or how do you notice that there's something happening so that you can help them step through that? Is it apparent?
That's great. And it's great that you're like kind of questioning it, because you're right. A lot of times you don't know. I didn't know for myself. I think it's working with a client. You start to see things. You see them, you become a lot more introspective, and you start to question your purpose, and you start to question kind of what you're doing here. And it could be an example where, you lose your job, or, or your marriage dissolves, or, there's so many examples, or like a health diagnosis it can just kind of put people over the edge, and it can, but we can get through it. So I want to give hope. It's like, you're going to get through it no matter what. And if you can make it a little bit easier, then go with that. Like, don't fight it. That's the thing. Like, it's like, once you're on that trajectory, you're going to have to just ride that train.
It sounds like an inner realignment.
It is. Your energy is different. You look at the world differently. You look at yourself differently. You look at everything in your life differently. And you start to make changes that feel more aligned with who you are, with what your soul came here to do. So it's kind of deep. It's kind of deep stuff. It's hard to kind of put it in words.
Usually that's true. If there is a lot of depth to a subject, it's hard to do a 100,000 foot view of something that is really intricate and detailed. But I think that gives the listeners an idea, and they might go, oh, maybe I need to talk to Wendy, because maybe I feel that might be happening.
Right. exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
When
And it's
somebody
okay.
works with you, oh, go ahead. You
No,
go
I was gonna
first.
say, and it's okay if you don't know and it doesn't, and it's not always like, oh, just because I lost my job, it means that I'm having this whole, breakdown. It isn't necessarily that. I think it's kind of it's an inner uh awareness. Yeah, it's like you can feel something changing in yourself. Your energy's changing.
Hmm. Okay. And so when you're working with clients, Wendy, what does that look like? Individuals, groups, maybe both, and what's the process?
Yeah, I do one-on-one. I
Hmm.
do have single sessions still, although that's like for very, not as deep of a issue.
Hmm.
That's really, I like more when they do several sessions with me because then we can really get to the root cause of what's
Oh,
going
that
on.
makes sense. Just one session isn't really going to, neither one of you are going to be able to determine any root cause in 45, 50 minutes.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
So, and then I've done some in-person.
Unless you're really got a lot of magic going on.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, I've done in-person tapping demonstrations like at yoga studios, places like
Hmm.
that, but it's really more online now. So
Sure.
and I can focus it down to say a particular group of people, if it's overwhelmed business people or you know, busy moms or
Hmm.
whatever it might be. I can cater it more towards that. That's more for if I do a tapping session.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I can work with their diet and with their stress levels individually. And I
Perfect.
have an
And
I have an Amazon store just because people
oh
ask
yeah,
me.
let's talk about that. Thank you.
They ask me
And so
what's.
what is the Amazon? Yeah, yeah. What is the Amazon store?
Yeah, it's got supplements on there. There's some supplements that I take. I'm not a doctor, so you have to check with their doctor, make sure it's
Mhm.
okay. But I have some like a rebounder that I really like on there. I have some kitchen things, there's some skincare products, and I've used
Mhm.
it all. So it's really more of a convenience, so that people don't have to do the research if they don't want to. And I
Oh, that's
always
great.
I always love getting recommendations from other people too. So if they say, "Hey, I love this product, you know, what do you think of it?" I'll try it out and I'll put it on
Mhm.
there. It'll be great. So
That's fantastic. So one of the things that I notice when I'm talking to people that are in the coaching arena, or especially when they're talking about health and stress and things of that sort, is that it can be very I can't think of the word, trying on you as the coach, or trying is not the right word, but you have to protect yourself too, right? So that their situations are not being absorbed into you, and making sure that you show up as an authentically, but also as present as you can. How do you take care of yourself, and what do you do to take care of yourself to show up for others?
yeah, that's great. You're absolutely right. And being an empath, I have to really be careful of that.
Mm-hmm.
I do some energy protection kind of I don't know if you want to call it, not really a ceremony, but like just kind of saying like a quick saying. I use crystals that can kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you put that bubble around yourself. Um, yeah, and just going into each session, just making sure that I am protected, not getting too pulled into other people's problems, because as an empath, you can become very absorbed
Mm-hmm. Oh,
into
sure.
other people's feelings and issues, and you can start to feel them. I've learned over the years that a lot of the stuff, it wasn't my stuff. A lot of times it was,
It was theirs.
but sometimes it wasn't. And I was like, wow, why am I feeling so bad? So those are the things I do. And then just getting up away from the screens and going
Mm-hmm.
outside, grounding. I it sounds funny, but I like to pick up sticks. We have big trees where we're at, and I
Mm-hmm.
go around and I pick up sticks and I just gather them, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm stretching and I'm breathing the fresh air, and I'm getting away from being inside or looking at screens, because I think it's just really important. I mean, we
What
have
does that do for you?
Oh gosh, especially being in the sun. I love being in the sun, and it, it just makes me feel so different. I feel better. I mean, they know people feel better in the sun.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
I just feel relaxed. I'm getting the vitamin D. I, it just feels like a warm blanket. I love it.
Oh, I love
Um,
that analogy.
yeah, yeah. So it's just
Mhm,
super important. I mean, you can still get outside when it's cloudy, but it's nice when it's sunny. People are happier in the sun.
mhm. And that also comes down to the stress and the imbalance piece as well, and having, what you do is really important, and giving people tools to help them self-manage. And part of that self-managing is for people to realize, oh, I haven't been outside. I know when I haven't been outside because I get a little cranky. I get a lot cranky. So so help teaching people to realize what's maybe some of those triggers are, that, oh, I feel this way, so maybe I just need to go step outside and take this cup of coffee outside, or just take my book outside, or take a walk, and to help self manage and lower the stress levels, and really just take a moment to be.
Mhm. Exactly. Right. And another thing, that can be done too, and there's no, obviously it's weather dependent, but is to meditate. I meditate every day. It's really changed my life. I usually do that inside, but there's no reason you couldn't do that outside. Just get if, I don't, for me, I like the guided ones, or there's
Mhm,
so many out there, or you can just use music, like a really nice music.
mhm.
Or some people don't need anything if they're really good. They can just, sit
Meditation is hard.
and get centered.
I've had a yoga practice for 15 years, more than that, really long time. And I still struggle with that. Meditation is really hard. Is that okay to say?
Yeah, it can be. I think yeah, and I think trying to do it perfectly, it's like it won't, you won't get it perfect. I think it's just, it's just a practice. You do it over and over
Mm,
again, and then it'll start to become easier. And I think with me, I started to notice some shifts in how I felt physically, that
mm,
kind of, giving up that old pattern of thinking, and then just breaking that cycle of old thoughts that are
mhm,
just creating the same scenario day in and day out. So
mhm.
that's a big one for me. And then obviously some kind of exercise, whether it's outside or inside, some type of movement, you know.
Getting the blood flowing is also important, without a
Exactly.
doubt.
Exactly.
Without a doubt. When do you do really important work?
Thank you, Jeanne.
Yeah, you do. And I think that it is, I love the fact that there can come, well, let me say this. There can come times where somebody might be focused on many different things and they're not really interconnected. So it just seems very hard to put a pin on or a thumb on to say this is what you really do. But what you're doing is just so important, because how we eat drives how we feel, and the stress levels. But not just that, but you're also giving people tools so that they, between times with you, they have the ability to make a difference for themselves that's not complicated.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's what I aim to do. Um, and I always talk to any potential client before I work with them. There's
Mm-hmm.
no obligation, because I want to make sure I'm the right fit. This is a
Oh,
whole,
sure.
they have to trust me. They have to feel very comfortable with me. And I want to make sure that I can help them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always, complimentary. That's just a 15, 20 minutes to find
Oh,
out.
yeah, it's important for them to understand that, and it's important for you to understand them a little bit before there's a commitment to each other, because it is a commitment to walk through together.
Exactly. And they have to want to do the work. It can't be, you know, I'm going to stay in the same habits. You know,
Yeah.
it has to be to a point where they know they need to make some lifestyle changes, and
I love
you know,
that you said that.
they're ready to do that. They're ready to do it.
Mhm.
Because, you know, sometimes people say they want to change, and then when it really comes down to it, they kind of don't, you know.
Yeah,
So
showing up for a
they're
session
just
is
not
one thing.
ready.
Doing the work that takes it that's going to make it work is another thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, and you just, some people are ready and some people aren't, and that's okay.
Mhm.
It's totally
Yep.
fine. Yeah.
So Wendy, how do people get in touch with you?
My website is holisticjourney.org. It's holistic
Mhm.
with an H. That's the easiest way. My email is wendy@holisticjourney.org. I'm on Instagram. It's the same name, Holistic Journey, and then my
Mhm.
name. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. So yeah, any of those ways are fine.
And if they wanted to check out your Amazon store, is it just the same too?
It's right, holisticjourney.org/shop. It's just called shop. So there's just, yeah, they can peruse the products and see if there's
Perfect.
anything that looks like it might be fun to try.
Well, great. Wendy, thank you. Thank you again for being here and sharing what you do and how you help us all support ourselves through our life's journey. And I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much, Jeanne. It's been a pleasure. It's been great. Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening today. Today's show was sponsored by Seaside Solutions, my financial services company. As a business owner, it's easy to be pulled in many different directions, and often taking care of yourself plummets to the bottom of the list. For me, I find myself outside to reground. My time outdoors helps me manage my day more effectively and be more present for my clients. Through this, Discover Rising Tides was born. At Seaside Solutions, we truly believe that education is the foundation of financial wellness. Our primary focus is to provide guidance that is designed to help you achieve your long-term financial goals and visions. Working with a plan allows space for doing more things that you love, like being outside to make the inside better. If I can help you create or realign your plan, or if you would like to be added to my weekly newsletter, please let me know. This week's topic was 5 ways to set more achievable goals. Your referral means the big, beautiful world to me. And if I can help, please let me know. And thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.